History dies when we stop talking about it. So the mission at Habersham History is to preserve that rich history. So in order to keep the conversation going, we have several programs to keep that going. One of them is our Hey Habersham podcast, where you can hear stories told right from people here in Habersham County. And we have 13 of those and more are coming. So that's our podcast. Another way is we've gone and done extensive research on all the mayors and sheriffs in Habersham County, and those are documented on our website with pictures and dates that they've served. The next one is near and dear to my heart. It's our video project, where we go and talk to longtime people, members of Habersham County, like Sue Payne Smith from Mount Airy. She's a wealth of knowledge about Mount Airy's history. And then we also got to interview Mr. Cliff Kimsey Jr., legendary UGA football player. And he also, fantastic community member, served in every purpose at Kiwanis and the bank and numerous places. And he had a lot to say. We have over 80 interviews with longtime residents like this, and it grows every day. So, moving on from that. Oops, I went a little too fast. Documentaries. We finished recently a 2-hour documentary about Cornelia, Train Town. And in fact, a couple of you in here have seen that, and we're at the premiere. We have another one. You can see a picture of the airport right here. That's a week from today. We are premiering. It's called The Cornelia Airport Story. And it tells the story of how the airport in Cornelia was built. And you're welcome to join us for that, 6 p.m. next Thursday at the Common Ground in Cornelia. And that's free. Moving on quickly. We honor veterans, because that's very important, to honor those who served us and protected the freedoms that we so richly enjoy. There's a wall of honor in Cornelia, as you know. It has 65 names on it. But all you can see is the name, and we wanted more, because history is important. So we went and got pictures of all those veterans, not all of them, many of them, and stories as well. So we have a biography for them, which wars they served in, what medals they earned, etc., because honoring Habersham veterans is very important to us. And history, as you know, Three Arts Club has 100 years here, and there are a bunch of other things. So we have spent $60,000 so far raising funds to digitize all the newspapers from 1857 through 2006 so far, and we're still going. We have an incredible amount of information that you used to have to go to the library and look page by page by page to try and find what you wanted. And if you didn't know when it happened, it could take you a long time. And now it's searchable. You type in Three Arts Club, for example, and you get 1,056 entries back. So I looked at almost all of them, and that's what I'm about to talk about. We're also in the newspaper from time to time with an article about history. On the radio, we started a Habersham History Minute because we found that 2-hour documentaries are a lot for some people. This is 2 minutes. So if you have 2 minutes and you want to hear some history, it's the way to go. And we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We have our own webpage. We try and be wherever you are. And now for our featured presentation. Why am I really here? Let me tell you about the Three Arts Club. Did you know that in 1903 in New York, the first Three Arts Club was formed? Now, interestingly enough, it was for women only, and it was a residence hall built to support people who were studying the arts. Now, in their case, it was, for you guys, it's music, literature, and fine arts. But for them, it was music, drama, and fine arts. But otherwise, it was all the same. In later years, other Three Arts Clubs came along, as you can see, 1911 in Cincinnati, 1912 in Chicago, 1913 in Philadelphia, etc. And in 1926, as you well know, the Three Arts Club was formed right here in Cornelia, Georgia. Can everybody hear me okay? You can't? Still can't? You need more volume? Oh, okay, but you can hear me. Okay, good. All right, so in 1927, this 8-story building was built to support the latest Three Arts Club. Now, they're not in business anymore in New York, but that building still exists, and it's called the Three Arts Building. But I digress. Let's talk about what happened a week before you guys were born. This is the unveiling of the Big Red Apple, and this woman right here is Miss Sally Lou Hill. And she had the pleasure of unveiling that Big Red Apple that day. There was in the newspaper, they described it as a shower curtain covering the Big Red Apple, and she got to pull it down and reveal in all its glory and splendor that Big Red Apple. Little did anyone know, well, a few people knew, 6 days later, the Three Arts Club would be formed. They all got together, 29 charter members, at the Commercial Hotel to get this done. As I mentioned here, for you guys, it's music, literature, and art. And it turns out that you guys had pink and white as your club colors. So there it is, the first club meeting at the Commercial Hotel, and 29 charter members. There she is. This is Miss Sally Lou Hill. Well, you saw a preview of her, thanks to another Sally. Isn't she beautiful? Now, she went on to marry Mr. Crawford. He was working at Cornelia Pharmacy, and they got married in 1928. And a couple years later, Mr. J.W. Crawford passed away. And so Mr. Crawford and Vernon, his brother, they ran Cornelia Pharmacy together, and there were a couple of bad issues that happened. There was a fire that ravaged that block and just about destroyed the pharmacy. And as they were rebuilding it, it flooded. There was just pouring down rain. And so just when they were thinking that they were back in business, there was flood damage. And so they had to recover from that, and the insurance money didn't cover it. And Mr. Crawford thought, this is not good. So he sold the business to Mr. G.P. Cunningham in 1930. And the rest, as they say, is history on that. The Cunningham family still owns that building. I don't know if you knew that. Okay, I'm way ahead of myself. There she is. She moved to Miami. They both moved to Miami, where she became a teacher and later a guidance counselor. And she stayed in Miami but came back to Cornelia to visit numerous times. Interestingly, she changed her name from Sally Lou, 2 words, to Sally Lou, just 1 word. And that's how they knew her. And she lived to be 95 years old and died in 1997. Well, what about the rest of them? Well, I'm not going to go into this level of detail. For the rest, I don't have it. But this is your first set of officers, Ms. Sally Lou Hill as the president, first vice president, and Mrs. Foster. Ms. Cleveland's second vice president and secretary, Ms. Hood. Treasurer Ola West, Rachel Oates, and Ms. Clyde Eller. Something interesting to point out to you and I, that is in the newspaper for a long time, they would never post the woman's name. She was always Mrs. Jack Ellard or Miss F.M. Crawford or F.O., etc., until 1980. In 1980, all of a sudden you see a switch and you get to see a name like Miss Sue Blair instead of Dale Blair, right? So I thought you might find that interesting. I'm not going to read these names out, but these are your 29 charter members posted in the newspaper on June 17th, 1926. So what else? You guys made news instantly. This club was a mover and a shaker. In 1926 alone, you guys had 14 columns in the newspaper, and it just kept coming. The amount of activity that you guys had in just your first year was phenomenal. And the thing about it is, you guys kept on going and going like this. It was amazing. And so now I'm going to fast forward to your 20-year anniversary, right? And it just points out that you still had 12 of your original 29 members there that day. So it's a testament to the people really stuck to the club. Now the story I heard, I'll show you this in just a second. is that back in the day, as Ms. Higgins pointed out, they came with their finest silver and china and white gloves, and it was quite the affair until later when you guys moved to paper plates. Good idea. A little more casual now. So, this picture is rare, and I say that I looked at 1,056 articles about the Three Arts Club before coming here, and I found 2 pictures. 2. So you guys must have been camera shy. But this particular one is when you bought a grand piano to celebrate your 30th year anniversary. It was $1,900 back in 1956. So I caught a rare glimpse of one of your members playing the piano. That's Mrs. Heindel. Did somebody say that before the name came up? I thought I heard, see? You guys know. I didn't hear that.
Is that the piano?
That is the piano. Well, it's. Oh, is that the piano? Let's see. I can tell you that this is the exact brand that was purchased. In the article, it said it was a Conover, and that's a Conover. So it might be.
We pay to have it tuned once a year, and the church pays to have it tuned once a year.
Okay. How much does that cost? Is it like $200, something like that? Incidentally, and this newspaper article is not tied to that, but if you can see Mrs. Blair there under 1956, it's because the very first time that a meeting was held at First Presbyterian was when Mrs. Blair was here for it in 1956, November 11, 1956. That's the first reference to this meeting at this church. So you guys have been meeting here since then. It's a long time. So as you can see, Ms. Blair was, can you see that far? You probably can't, but she was a busy lady. Look at this, she was singing for women's ministry unions, Cornelia Women's Club, a couple for the Three Arts Club, the DAR, Patricia Burrell's wedding, Cornelia Choral Group, Ann Purvis's wedding. This is all in 1 year. It's just 1 year. Busy. I wish, do you still sing? Okay, I missed it. I've heard wonderful things about your singing. So there she is on the far left in the Cornelia Garden Club, and you're wondering, why would I be showing you Cornelia Garden Club in the Three Arts Club? And it's to point out this. This article points out that the club got so big that they divided it in 2. They couldn't come to any one person's house and have enough room for all the ladies. So they divided it into the Cornelia Garden Club and the Perennial Gardeners. And now, so clubs were a popular thing back then, and unfortunately, as time went on, they started to diminish. I'll get to that in a minute. These are just some of the meeting places that you guys, you ladies have met at. You started in the Commercial Hotel, and you went to the Pastime Theater and Kiwanis Hall. Does anybody know where Kiwanis Hall is? All right, it's the Dallas Ivy Building. It's right next to where the Mrs. Johnson conducted her business. It's where the Historical Society was for a while. Anyway, Community House, Cornelia Elementary, First Presbyterian right here. South Habersham Cafetorium. I thought that was fascinating. So cafeteria and an auditorium all together. Cornelia Bank Conference Room, Calvary Episcopal, First Baptist, and then a bunch of ladies' homes. I didn't list those. Okay, so moving on. Like I said, the first meeting here was with Ms. Blair in 1954. Okay, this is math stuff, so it's not very Three Arts at all. But if you just look back and stare at it, this is the number of articles about the Three Arts Club that appeared in the newspaper over the years. So you guys have made headlines consistently. So I think that's part of why you guys are still here today. I really do. 1,056 articles I was able to find in the 80 years that I had available to me. Okay, so, is that me? No. Okay, so I'm not going to read off the names, but these are your club presidents, and there's a bunch of them. But I'll get to exactly that. I'm going to get to a little summary right here about that. In your 100 years, there have been 53 club presidents. 12 of them served one term. 37 of them have served 2 terms. And unfortunately, due to COVID, there were 2 terms where there was no president. But 3 of them have served 4 terms. So I'd like to pause for a second. Does anybody want to take a guess at who served 4 terms? Nancy Stovall, Jane Ferguson, and Jean Patrick have all served 4 terms. How about that? So I mentioned to you that it's super hard to find pictures of ladies from the 3 Arts Club, but I managed to reach out to people in the community and some in the newspaper that wasn't related to 3 Arts, right? So you can see up there Miss Hamby, Miss Sally Lou Hill. This is G.P. Cunningham's wife, right? And then there's Miss Alda and G.P. Cunningham's the second's wife. And you can see Miss Sue Blair up there, Dorothy Neal, and your 3 ladies that have served 4 terms. And this, on the far right, is a picture in 1980 of the 3 Arts Club Ladies Choral. There was a circular stairwell in Cornelia Bank, and church choirs and other choirs would gather in there and sing Christmas carols. And this is one of the few pictures I was actually able to get of the 3 Arts Club. Okay, so I'm wrapping up here. This is to illustrate your longevity, okay? If you look up in the left-hand corner, you have the International Order of the Odd Fellows from 1894 here in Habersham County, the Habersham Progressive Club in 1907, the Cornelia Chamber of Commerce, 1907, Boy Scouts in Clarksville, 1913, the Habersham Club, 1914, Consolidated Apple Growers Exchange, 1921, Kiwanis, 1925, 3 Arts Club, woo, 1926, Cornelia Garden Club, 1926 as well, etc. What I want to show you is, so you guys are in the middle of that group of folks. A number of them long before you, and a number of them long after you. But guess how many have reached 100? That list gets very short. You guys are in rare company. So you've got the Cornelia Chamber of Commerce, and they changed their name. Now it's the Habersham Chamber of Commerce. Clarksville Boy Scouts, Cornelia Kiwanis, which has also changed their name to Habersham Kiwanis. And then the 3 Arts Club. So congratulations on that. You guys are 153 days away from hitting your 100th anniversary, and I'm so thankful that I get to be here to congratulate you in advance. Thank you for having me today. I just want to close and say a couple of things. 1, we would love if any of you ladies, remember I said that we do video projects getting longtime members. If any of you ladies would like to sit down and share your memories about the 3 Arts Club, we would love that. And so, the last thing I'll leave you with, first of all, are there any questions? I left you speechless. Pretty good. So, the last thing I'll say is that Habersham History works entirely off of donations, and if you feel compelled to help us continue to preserve history in Habersham County, we would very much appreciate that. And I thank you very much for your time today.